Alrighty, let us begin. We are still working on constructing a budget plan. So our LEQ is similar to what it has been. What is the process of establishing a budget? Now, by now, I'm pretty sure most of you guys know the process of establishing a budget. In other words, what is a budget? Its essential components. So the process is as follows. We're basically answering the LEQ that we've had the past few days. You need to determine your monthly income. All personal budgets are based on monthly averages. So if your income varies, like if you work a typical part-time job, chances are you're bringing home different amounts of money each week or every 2 weeks. Now, me as a teacher, I get paid monthly and it's the same amount every month, so that makes it very easy. So you must determine your average monthly income. If you do not yet know how to determine your average monthly income, please watch part 1 and part 2 of this video series on budgeting. You need to determine your fixed costs, which are basically your bills, and your variable costs, which is everything else. So the process of establishing a budget is to determine your average monthly income, figure out your fixed costs, and your variable costs. Those are the essential components, I should say. The process we'll get to today. So before we get into that, I want to take another look at variable costs. Students have had several questions about this. Understand that variable costs are just that, variable. They change. I recommend, and any other financial planner will recommend, grouping variable costs into what we call categories to help you further narrow down where you're spending your money from. Now, what I give you, my variable cost categories, that's what works for me. So on my actual budget, again, I practice what I preach. My actual budget, my variable cost, I only have 4 categories: groceries, entertainment, gas, and miscellaneous, with miscellaneous being random things that I buy. And within each of those categories, I have a specified amount of money set aside. So in other words, variable cost must be what works for you. If you know you're a shopaholic, then go ahead and set aside however much you can reasonably afford on shopping each month. If you are someone who just absolutely loves going to the movies, and even if time gets tough, maybe you're not going to have a general entertainment category because that's too general. You want to make sure you have enough money to go see a movie every week and every month. You can have a movie category for your variable costs. Again, that changes from person to person. So when it comes to actually establishing a working budget, here's what I want you guys to know. A budget is a subtraction problem. It really is. Like, what is a budget? How do you do a budget? A budget is nothing more than a huge subtraction problem. And the subtraction problem works like this. You start with your average monthly income, which we have discussed. And from the average monthly income, you subtract your fixed cost. With that new number, you then subtract your variable cost. What you are left with is your discretionary income. Now, discretionary, just listen to that, guys. Discretionary, money to use at your discretion. Discretion means things that you have power to control, that you can influence. So discretionary income is basically money left after bills and other expenses have been paid, okay? So discretionary income is money left after your fixed costs and variable costs have been paid. In other words, most people's savings comes from their discretionary income, unless you actually budget for savings in your fixed cost, which may be an option to you. So let's do an actual example to see what this looks like. So here we go. This is going to be a very quick and very simple example. Let's say you are a student who currently is not working and you're using that magic $500 number that I've asked everyone to use in class. So average monthly income, we're going to set up this problem, is $500. Forgive my handwriting. Fixed cost, let's say your parents love you and they only make you pay your cell phone bill. Let's say your cell phone bill is $75. You have a nice data plan. Okay, variable cost. Let's pretend that with this $500 you are allotted, you love having fun and you are spending $150 on entertainment. So these are things like going on dates, going to the movies, putt-putt golf, whatever, what have you. And then, since you are a very fashionable person, you love going shopping, and you don't consider shopping entertainment, you consider that something that you are going to do no matter what, then have a variable cost category called, clothing, fashion, or swagger, whatever suits your fancy. So let's say we have $100 for that. You are spending way too much money. And that leaves us with our huge subtraction problem. So what we have here is $500. I'd like you guys to do this with me just for the practice. We have $500 minus 75 minus 150 minus 100, which gives us discretionary income of $175. You all are going to have to forgive the random marks everywhere. My airliner is not working as it should. So that's basically a budget in a nutshell, guys. We had our average monthly income. We subtracted out our fixed cost. We subtracted out our variable cost. Now, for this particular example, we said that the two categories that we chose for our variable costs are simple. We have entertainment and clothing, which leaves us with discretionary income of $175 a month. In other words, that $175 which you have left for saving for your short, medium, or long-term financial goals. Okay, so I'd like to take a moment and clear up some confusion. In the world of budgeting and financial literacy, there are two terms that are often used interchangeably and done incorrectly so. Now, you've heard me mention these two terms a little bit in class, and I've even used them in some homework videos. Now, I want to clarify the difference between disposable and discretionary income. So when it comes to financial literacy, there are two types of income: disposable income versus discretionary income. So here are the definitions along with examples of each. So disposable income is the easiest one to understand. Everyone hates taxes. Depending on how much money you make and what your deductions are, you can have several $100s taken out of your paycheck every single week or bi-week or every month with taxes. So disposable income is simply this. It's income after taxes. So this is going to be a rough estimate, but let's say that you make a income of exactly $500. Well, your take-home pay is not $500. Once they take out taxes, you might only take home $400. So that $400, that represents your disposable income. Now, why so many people get confused on this word is because it's used with a lot of different synonyms. For example, disposable income is the same thing as net income, and a lot of people, and even in class, we refer to it as take-home pay or take-home income. So what I need you guys to know is that disposable income is income after taxes. Now, gross income is how much you get paid. So that's when you see someone has a salary of $80,000. That doesn't mean they're taking home $80,000. Their gross income is $80,000, but their disposable income, take-home pay after taxes, that might be something like $68,000 to $70,000. So they might end up paying $10,000 in taxes and deductions. Okay, now to contrast with that, we have discretionary income. Think about the root word of discretionary is discretion. That means up to your decision or to your will. So discretionary income is the amount of income that is left for spending after personal necessities. So here's a simple little formula for you to help you memorize it. Discretionary income is equal to disposable income. Again, that's money after taxes. Remember, guys, this is so important. Disposable income is money after taxes. So discretionary income is disposable income minus your fixed cost, aka your bills, minus specific variable costs such as food and shelter. Now, the reason why I say specific cost is because food and shelter are necessities. So you can think of discretionary income as income left over after necessities have been paid off. Now in class, we're calling a lot of those variable costs. So entertainment and having fun is not necessarily a necessity. So discretionary income, after you have paid your bills and after you have purchased your necessities, the amount of money left over is called discretionary income. So after taxes have been taken out, and once you've paid all of your bills, and once you've purchased all of your necessities such as shelter and food, what's left over to have fun with, such as spending money on entertainment and dates, we call that discretionary income. Alright, so to make sure you guys understand this, here's my question for you. Which is always higher in value, disposable or discretionary income? So if you have someone who's making a wage, which number is going to be higher for them? And it's true for everyone. The answer is disposable income, because disposable income is money you get before you have time to get your greedy little hands on it. So that's how much money you have to take home. Discretionary income is always less than disposable income, because discretionary income, you've already bought food, you've already paid rent, so on and so forth. To conclude, what is the process of establishing a budget? A budget, you need to know your average monthly income, your fixed cost, and your variable cost. A budget is nothing more than a huge subtraction problem. You start with your average monthly income, subtract out your fixed costs, subtract out your variable costs, and you are left with the fancy term that we call discretionary income. Discretionary income, which means amount of money left after you subtract out your expenses, specifically your fixed cost and variable cost. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you all in class.